What do you think of the fact that the people who are getting the big crowds right now are AOC and Bernie Sanders? They're going around the country. Thank you, there's that same guy. I call him the always wrong guy. Okay, but I feel like, big crowds, again, the shiny object that the Democrats chase. It's not about the big crowd.
Bill Maher is at it again, delivering another blistering critique, this time aimed squarely at Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, often dubbed the Queen of Woke.
AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, geez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a guitar is like, way to ruin the fun.
Comedian Bill Maher didn't hold back, blasting the idea of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez as a legitimate presidential contender. In his eyes, AOC is simply too woke to lead the Democratic Party, so much so that he half-joked the DNC might be better off nominating someone with the guts and swagger of Donald Trump. And Maher wasn't alone. His remarks set off a political firestorm, with critics from all sides piling on, calling an AOC-led ticket a one-way ticket to electoral disaster. Love him or hate him, Maher knows how to provoke, and this time, he's delivering a message the Democratic leadership might not be able to ignore. If you're just joining us, hit that subscribe button, grab your popcorn, okay, and buckle up. We're diving into the drama surrounding what some are calling the ticking time bomb of AOC 2028. But first, let's roll the tape on a throwback clip to put it all in context.
It's not about the big crowds that come out to you when you're talking in a festival or wherever they are. I think it's because I think Bernie showed up at Coachella. That must have been fun for the fans. It's who shows up on Election Day. And I just don't see that's the ticket. I mean, Cory Booker, I know you've worked with him. I like Cory a lot from my home state of New Jersey. Made a speech for 25 hours. Again, just whacking each other off. This is just not what's going to get the job done.
I know you've seen this clip before, and I've already broken it down in detail, so I won't linger. I'm bringing it back now, just to set the stage for what's coming next. Yes, AOC is drawing huge crowds everywhere she goes, and I'll give her credit for that. But as Bill Maher wisely pointed out, it's not the volume of cheers at rallies that matters, it's who actually shows up to vote on Election Day. Remember Kamala Harris? She had the fans, the flair, and half of Hollywood behind her. The buzz, the endorsements, the media love it, was all there. And yet, we all know how that turned out. One of the most underwhelming campaigns in recent memory. So let's not confuse popularity with electability. As Maher put it, charisma might get you applause, but it won't get you Pennsylvania. And Maher wasn't the only one sounding the alarm. Even voices from the left are pushing back, like this commentator who didn't hold back while criticizing AOC for claiming Trump is weaponizing the Justice Department. Take a listen.
Other Democrats are watching their words.
I think it's certainly possible, but I'm not sure. I mean, I cannot think of or point to any individuals who have said that. I do think that there are Democratic members of Congress who are preparing for that possibility.
How do they prepare?
I think they look to the possibility of litigation. I think they're saying, do we have the best teams possible in order to carry out our work?
Some Republican, or many perhaps, will be watching this, listening to this, and thinking, wait a minute, actually, you're the ones who are prosecuting us. You are the guys who are weaponizing the Justice Department. How would you respond to somebody who may be thinking that?
In what way? In what way?
Did you catch that awkward pause? Its slight hesitation in AOC's voice? It was almost as if she didn't see that question coming. To be honest, neither did I, especially not from NPR, which is typically considered friendly turf for Democrats. But credit where it's due, the question was completely valid. While Democrats are quick to accuse Trump of weaponizing the Department of Justice, they conveniently overlook their own history of doing the exact same thing, especially when it comes to targeting Trump himself. What's truly fascinating now is watching AOC scramble to justify this double standard. She's usually quick on her feet in interviews, but this one clearly caught her off guard. You can practically see the mental gymnastics in real-time pausing, recalibrating, searching for the right spin. And if this is how she responds to one fair question, Imagine how she'll handle it when the media really starts doing its job. Let's see how she gets out of this one. One half.
Is the very presence
Putting
of,
Trump on trial would be their example, I suppose.
Yes, I mean, here's the deal. In the United States, there is a jury where we are judged by our peers, and he was found guilty in court on 34 felony charges. If people want to say it was weaponized, I mean, it is hard-pressed to say that there's a partisan argument for it.
Now that is comedy gold. So watching the usually sharp-tongued, media-polished AOC stumble for words was nothing short of entertaining. You can see her grasping at straws, trying to defend how her own party weaponized the DOJ to keep Trump off the ballot, her go-to defense. That Trump was tried by a jury of his peers and found guilty? Sure, let's roll with that. But if that's the gold standard they're so proud of, why the outrage now that the tables are turning? Why does the justice system only seem credible? When it targets their political opponents, it suddenly becomes corrupt the moment it turns its gaze inward. The hypocrisy is staggering. It's the kind of double standard that's become far too common, rules for thee but not for me. And the irony? Almost too rich to ignore? If accountability truly matters, it should apply across the board. But for the left, it seems to only count when it fits the narrative.
Had a recent dispute, if that's the right word, with Tom Homan, the president's Homeland Security czar, so-called. You held an online forum, a Know Your Rights forum, that he didn't like. What were you doing? What was your goal as you saw it?
My job is to educate and act as a liaison of critical information to my constituents. And I was informing all of my constituents of their constitutional protections, and in particular, their constitutional protections against illegal search and seizure in the United States.
Homan was upset, I suppose, because he felt that you were giving advice to people who were here illegally. Were you?
I was giving advice to all of my constituents.
And once again, AOC gets tangled in her own weband. How does she respond? By doing what she does best, spinning and sidestepping. This time, she flat out misled her way through it. Hey, did you catch the wordplay? She claimed she was simply advising her constituents about their rights, but that wasn't the question. The interviewer clearly asked if she was giving advice to illegal immigrants. She couldn't answer that honestly without landing in hot water. So she pulled a classic beta-new, switch replacing illegal immigrants with constituents, a term that usually refers to legal residents or citizens. It was a calculated deflection, not a clever move. Honestly, I'm starting to wonder if AOC is nearly as sharp as the media makes her out to be. This wasn't some strategic masterstroke, it was a clumsy dodge. It's the fact that she seemed to think no one would notice. That's the real punchline. It's the same playbook she tried to use when she faced off with Tom Homan about a year ago. It didn't work then either.
Mr. Homan, your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy.
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is whenever a U.S. citizen parent gets arrested with a child.
Ouch, that had to sting. Honestly, it's hard to even follow what AOC was trying to argue here. Her logic is all over the place. She insists the U.S. should never detain both parent and child together in immigration cases. But what exactly? Is the alternative? If someone crosses the border illegally with a child, some form of separation is unavoidable. That's the legal and logistical reality. Yet AOC keeps pushing this emotional narrative, conveniently ignoring that the same standards apply to American citizens. If a U.S. citizen is arrested, say, for a DUI and separated from their child, no one raises a fuss. But when it involves an illegal immigrant, it suddenly becomes a human rights crisis. That's the double standard she keeps promoting. And that's why critics say AOC often seems more interested in defending illegal immigrants than standing up for law-abiding Americans. This isn't about justice. It's about scoring political points. Her arguments fall apart under scrutiny. Her emotion is weaponized, and the hypocrisy is glaring. Meanwhile, Tom Homan doesn't flinch. He doesn't sugarcoat. He doubles down, and he makes it clear he's not here to play along with the spin.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their...
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Homan, with
family.
all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
Boom, just like that. AOC scurried away like a cat caught in the spotlight. She simply couldn't handle the heat once Tom Homan stepped up and delivered a reality check. This is what happens when performative outrage collides with cold, hard facts. Homan didn't raise his voice or resort to theatrics. He calmly laid out the law and due process, point by point. If someone genuinely seeks asylum, there's a legal way to do it. You don't just cross the border illegally and expect immunity from the law. But AOC, true to form, tried to spin it into a morality play, one that conveniently sidesteps law, order, and fairness. When faced with logic and the actual mechanics of border enforcement, she had nothing. No rebuttal, no substance, just vague emotional appeals and a quiet retreat. That's the difference between grandstanding and governing. Homan came armed with facts. AOC brought feelings. And in the real world, feelings don't win arguments. So what happens when AOC finally gets a taste of her own medicine? Let's find out.
You're going to cut this and you're going to clip this so that it's completely out of context. I already said that it was, and y'all are just going to pretend that it wasn't over and over again. It's up, man. And you're not helping these people, and you're not helping them.
You refuse to.
You're not helping them.
Wasn't she the one who advised lefties like her to make Republicans feel uncomfortable in public, to get in their faces? Well, honey, call this instant karma.
You refuse to call it a genocide in front of everybody.
I need you to understand.
It's not okay that there's a genocide happening and you're not actively against it.
You're lying.
I'm lying.
You're not.
You went on TV and avoided talking about it.
And that right there is what it looks like when someone finally gets a taste of their own medicine. Uncomfortable, isn't it? As I've said time and time again, many of these so-called activists are really just hypocrites wrapped in buzzwords and selective outrage. So when they start handing out moral lectures, take it all with a hefty grain of salt. If you're wondering why AOC looked visibly embarrassed recently, here's your answer. She outright refused to label Hamas's brutal attacks on Israel last year as genocide. Let that sink in. If the roles had been reversed, she wouldn't have hesitated for a second. There would have been hashtags, viral sound bites, and emotional press circuits. But when the facts don't align with the narrative she's invested in, suddenly it's complicated. Suddenly she's silent. This isn't about justice or human rights. It's about optics and political convenience. The double standard is impossible to miss, and the moral compass is completely skewed. It's no wonder her credibility keeps cracking every time real scrutiny enters the room.
Yes, the modern Democrats, they're the party of neo-Marxists like AOC and Bernie Sanders. They're leading the party right now, leading them straight to the depths of hell.
This isn't just about Republicans either. We need a Democratic Party that fights harder for us too.
We have a message for Mr. Trump. And that is, we will not allow you to move this country into an oligarchy.
Bill Maher nailed it, a potential AOC Sanders ticket would be nothing short of political suicide for the Democrats. This isn't just a bad strategy, it's a full-blown disconnect from political reality. Both AOC and Bernie Sanders seem more invested in optics than actual results, more interested in performance than in pragmatic governance. Sanders talks a big game about dismantling the oligarchy, yet continues to operate comfortably within a party packed with corporate elites and establishment power players. The irony writes itself. And AOC, she lacks the depth, experience, and policy grounding to be taken seriously on a national ticket. Her popularity thrives on viral soundbites and social media clout, not on substance or legislative wins. Up figures like AOC and Sanders might energize the far-left base, but it risks alienating the moderate and independent voters the Democrats need to stay competitive. If the party keeps chasing ideological purity and emotional theatrics, they won't just lose elections, they'll implode from within. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the bell, turn on notifications, and stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.